Hey everybody, new video for you. Today I'm going to run through some of the methods and ways that you can cook food if you're on the move during shit to hit the fan, or if you want something quick, or um, something that you need to pack in your vehicles or in your car, that type of thing. Um, I'll touch on a couple different options, why I use them, that type of thing. And you know, they're inexpensive as well. I guess I'll start with water, liquid, that type of thing. Um, one of the most important things that you got to be able to do, as you know, is have fresh water. Um, One of the things that people forget, though, is that with that fresh water, you need to have something to put it in. And a lot of people forget about that. In previous videos, I showed you a couple of camelbacks, which are great for hauling, a decent amount of water. You can put them on like a backpack or attach them to your to your backpack, that type of thing. The problem with the camelback is you can't, you can't put extremes in, like heated stuff. You cannot cook with it. It can hold fluid, but it can't. There's not much else you can do with it. And so you need to ensure that you've got some means of being able to, boil water, cook food, or even store anything that you have left over, because you obviously do not want to allow food to go to waste if you're in a shit hit the fan situation, regardless of what it might be. If you're stuck for a week or a month, it doesn't matter. You need to conserve as much as you possibly can. Now, I use a couple different things. For some of my kits, I have, and actually for my daily use, I have some of these thermos jugs. This model here, which are they're one of my favorite things because they fit in most pouches. They also fit in cup holders and vehicles for the most part. But the biggest thing was how they impressed me with was how long they'll keep food cold or hot. I can put something in here ice cold and come back 24 hours later and it's still ice cold. It's the only one that I've found that, can live up to that billing. The other thing that I love about them, as you can see, this one's pretty beat up. Well, I've got 3 of these, and they have been bent, beat, dropped, as you can imagine, and they're still just as good as the day I bought them in terms of keeping liquid hot or cold. The other thing I really like about these, we use 2 of these on our motorcycle, because they've got the safety clasp, but you just click the button and the top opens for you. So when if I'm on the bike, I can just one finger it and I can take a drink and then pop the top back. And if I really want to, I can flip the safety as well. The one thing about these, they're about $30 a piece, but for me, these are great. And I keep 2 of them I use one all the time, and then I keep one on the bike, and I've got 4 of them because I got 2 more that are one on each of my smaller kits that I carry around. And they hold about 32 ounces, so pretty nice option there. Another thing that I have for some of my bigger kits is this one is by Tal, and it does a pretty good job. It's about 12 to 14 hours it'll keep liquid cold or hot. Similar design to thermos. I think in this case the reason it's only 12 to 14 hours is more because of the top, the seal, is what I'm thinking. It doesn't quite seal or have the same rubber gasket as the thermoses do. It does have a rubber gasket, but it's not quite as robust or as thick. But it's stainless steel, and these are great for, like in the summertime when I'm out on the tractor and stuff. Um, I can take a jug of ice water with me in the morning or whatever, and that night when I open it back up, it's still got ice water in it with the ice. I mean, and I can hang it off a hook or whatever I want. But it's great on my bigger packs because it gives me a much larger, it's about a half gallon of fluid. And the thing being stainless steel, I can also cook with it if I would have to in a pinch. Finally, you'll see people that get plastic jugs that they carry, and they do that for weight. I also have a couple of military-style canteens, but I didn't pull those out. I'm sure you know what they look like, and some people want to carry them, but they're only, they don't hold a whole lot. The aluminum ones, of course, you can cook in, and some of mine come with the cup on the bottom, so that you can use that as a secondary cooker too. I guess I should have grabbed one out, but I didn't. But then there's also these plastic jugs, and for me, you'll notice I keep water in mine that I keep in my kits. I keep water in them so that I've got an emergency supply of water. And these are, they're like dehydrated food. They pack them up and they last for years. These here, my current supply will expire this year. In July. So I'm going to end up using up these for something else. And ordered another box that'll last another 5 years. So I'm in the middle now. The reason I'm doing this is I'm in the middle now of transitioning from my winter to summer. So the things that are due for expiration, I'm replacing out and going from there. Anyway, as you can see, I keep in all my kits, I keep some of these packs. What a better place to keep them but in the water bottle. And then I'll also keep purification tablets, or usually one of my life straws or Sawyer straws or something is, combines with this. One of the nice things about these newer plastic bottles for this, a lot of them now have interchangeable caps, and you can buy life straw adapters where the life straw actually fits into the bottle. So it'll actually fit inside the bottle, and then you just drink it. You just put the water in the bottle and drink out of the bottle. You don't have to worry about you have to worry about the life straw part of it. Big drawback with the plastic bottle is you can't use it for cooking, and you can't store super hot liquid in it either. So that is one drawback. The other drawback is, depending on the bottle you get, plastic can leach chemicals into whatever you put in that bottle, especially if it's warm or hot food. Now, I go with the BPA free because that eliminates that problem. And, if you get something that's BPA free, you don't really have to worry about it. But then again, I'm not going to be cooking with this thing. For my one kit that I have this in, it's nice and light. And since that kit is heavier, then I went with the plastic versus another metal thing. And the other thing that worked out was my little pot fits right around it, so when this goes into its holder, I've got my pot that goes along with it. And I can use this as a drinking cup. I can use it as a cooking pan. It's got I can use it, for telling how much I'm mixing in, a cup or half a cup or whatever by ounce. So it's pretty nice setup that I was able to come up with for that, and it, fits together. Next in that regard, you can also just use standard tin cups, and you can get these. I think I get like 3 or 4 of these for $1. They're just cheap aluminum tin cups, but you can use them for cooking something, and you just got to be careful not to melt them, of course. But you can use them for cooking, that type of thing. And I just use like a little bit of paracord or something to attach them to my pack, and they hang right there, and away they go. Simple, easy to use, and very cheap. Then, of course, I'm sure most of you have seen these kind of kits that you can get. You've got the oblong ones that you used to see in Boy Scouts. You've got this type. This is aluminum, so it's lightweight. And again, you can't let them get super hot because they'll melt, but if you're letting your fire get that hot, your food's going to burn to a crisp anyway. And this one comes with its own frying pan, a bowl, cup, measuring cup, and a little pot for cooking. And you can usually find these for, $10 or something. But unlike those, you can't hold fluid in these. These are primarily for eating or cooking, that type of thing. Along with that, you're going to have to remember a couple of different things. One, you're going to need something to eat with. So you've got your different utensils. Here I've got the old, it's a very simple small set. Oh, you can see it. That's a knife, spoon, and fork. And then a little bit more elaborate, bigger set. Again, knife, spoon, forks. And this one happens to have a bottle opener built in, as well as a can opener. So this one's kind of pretty nice. But it's a little bit more expensive brand, and it's a lot more solid too. So you've got this one, and then I've also got this type, which looks like basically a Swiss Army knife. You've got your fork, and you've got your spoon, and you've got a can opener, bottle opener. Oh, and this comes apart too, so it doesn't have to be all one piece. You even got your wine bottle opener, so if you happen to run across some booze, well, there you go. And then it's got one last blade here, your knife. This one's by Ozark Trail, so kind of nice, but it's personal preference, I guess, as to what you want to carry or what you want to use. And then the other thing, some people will use plastic spoons and forks and knives, and that's fine too, but you don't know how long they're going to last. So with my kits, I usually go something that's going to hold up, that I can keep clean and it's not going to fall apart. The other thing I keep, because some of these spoons and knives and stuff, they don't come with it, I keep a couple P38 or P51 military can openers, and that's all they are. These little things, you can buy these, and you can keep them on a key ring, that type of thing. But they just basically are for opening cans, and that's something you definitely don't want to forget. While I don't carry canned food, I do expect I would run across some at some point. Now, on to the next part of it. When you're out and about, a lot of discussion revolves around fire starting and that type of thing. And there's a whole bunch of different methods, and later this spring, summer, whatever, I'll probably do a video on outside where I can actually light a bunch of fire and show you different methods of doing it. But I've got some basic ones here now for doing a fire and cooking food. And one of them is, you've seen many of the videos I do. I have fire starters like flint and steel. Well, this is very similar. It's another flint and steel, very hardy, solid made with a good grip. And then inside I can also keep some lighter fluid, which I can use to, well, that's the steel as well, by the way. I'd flick it here. I keep the lighter fluid in there so that I can put that on, some cotton or something like that, to help light a fire quicker. Then of course you've got your other options, which are, your standard lighters, from a Zippo to a Bic to whatever. And of course, I also keep waterproof and windproof matches. And then finally, I'll have a couple of regular plastic cheapo Bic lighters around. And, if I can't get a fire started with all this, then I shouldn't, I don't know what I'm doing, obviously, but You know, if you've got redundant methods and redundant ways, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to get a fire going. All right, when it comes to actually cooking your food, you've got a number of different options. Now, first, you can forego anything that takes fuel or extras or anything else, and you can get a kit, something like this. And this kit, as you can see, comes in its own little pack. And keep it cork and some other fire starting material in there. And it comes in pieces. And what this is basically is it's almost like a rocket stove. Now this one allows you to pretty much burn anything. It's a head off the top of my head now, I can't remember how to put the damn thing together. Let's see here. There is a method to this. Okay, there goes that. And I think more like that. No. Let's see. Oh. There we go. No, that's not it either. What am I doing wrong here? Must be this way. Oh, there we go. Okay, you can start your fire, and then you can, have a bottom in it if you want, as you can see, or I could just set it over a fire on the ground, and then this goes on the top. And now I can take my pot or pan and place it on there for cooking. If I don't have a big pan like that or a big bowl, then obviously I can adjust this so it'll fit whatever it is that I do have. And it's kind of nice too, because you can level it or whatever you need to do, that type of thing. Yeah, you definitely want to do it something like that, I guess. You get the idea. That basically you'll set it up for whatever your pot or pan is, and go from there. And like I said, you can start your own fire with twigs or a brush or whatever you want, and you could either have your own little fire in there, or you can set this whole thing into a depression or something and just set it over a small fire, and it turns it into a nice rocket stove. You don't need a lot of fuel, or you don't have to. You don't have a need to create a huge roaring flame to cook something, because with this type of stove, the way it puts the air through the chimney will actually produce more heat than a bigger fire would, thus letting you boil water or cook your food much faster than setting up an entire campfire would do. So you've got something like that, and I keep this one in my main survival kit. Next, I've shown you this before. You can carry something like this that doubles both as a light source, but also as a stove. And it works pretty good. I've used this before. Doesn't take long to heat up and cook something either. So you've got something like that, and you can, it comes, you can get, or it comes with, the extra candles. These are 9-hour candles, each one. So if you don't want to light all three at once, you basically got 27 hours if you do one candle at a time per light. If you're cooking, then you can light however many you think you're going to need to get enough heat to cook whatever it is that you need. Next, you could do something like this, which does require fuel. And this one is kind of nice, for as long as at least you have fuel. I keep one of these in my vehicle, because I'm not going to really take fuel along with me when it comes to my backpacks. It is nice because it's got a little cook pot. It's got a bigger cook pot. And basically the system comes with its own little burner. And the burner basically just plugs right into the system. And of course you got your little knobbies here to adjust it. And once it's in the system, of course, then you can cook away. I don't want to screw it in there, but you get the idea. It's a nice little system. Works pretty well. But again, you'd have to carry the extra fuel. And I don't know anybody's going to do that. So what I do is I just have a couple of these, one in each of my vehicle kits, and a couple canisters of fuel, and I'll use them until the canisters are gone, and then I'll probably just put this back in the kit, and there it'll sit unless I come across another canister of fuel somewhere. And let's see here. That folds up nicely. I guess I should. Now, as you can see, you can keep one canister in the set with you, just like that. You'd almost think it was designed for that. That goes right back into its nice little carrying case. Well, it's supposed to anyway. And there you go. So that's an option. The next one you have is one of these. And this is called an SBIT stove. And these are very popular with military around the world, in fact. Now you can start a fire in this with twigs, cotton, whatever you want to do. The most common use are with the pellets. And these are getting old, so I'll open one of these because I've got plenty. Oh yeah, this is really old. Looks like I need to throw these out. Normally a pellet is not going to be this fragile, but the pellet will go in there like that, like so. And this is what happens when they get old. But these, as you can see, are military, so I'll replace them with some new ones. And then you light it, and then you can adjust this, for whatever it is you might need. And there's your little stove. And like I said, these are used throughout the world by the military. And you can get the pellets, you can get an SBIT stove and the pellets pretty much anywhere. Any survival location, any sporting goods store. A pellet will last long enough to boil a cup of water. Keep adding pellets, and of course the stove will keep going. Or add twigs or anything else you might want to add. It's also great to start a larger fire. So you can use the pellets, to actually start a much larger fire. So it's something also that is an advantage to it. Something like that. And again, these are called SBIT, E-S-B-I-T. And then from there, the final option is to do something like this. And this is a pretty nice little unit. The only thing is, this thing is heavy. I can't obviously show you on camera. There's no way I can even connect it to my balance, my weight. But this thing is heavy. It's probably 3 pounds, I'm going to guess. I wonder if I could weigh it. Let me try. Let's see if I can get it to wait. Oh, let's just try it fake-wise. How's that? Well, that didn't work. That didn't work. Let me try one more thing, one more idea. No, it's not going to hold, but what I need is a rubber band. Let's see here. I think I may have found a solution. That'll work. There we go. Now we'll see what this thing weighs. Probably won't be able to see it in the camera, but I suppose it would help if I clear it. Oh, well, I was off a little bit. It's about 1.5, well, a little less than 1.5 pounds. So it's just a heavy 1 pound, let me tell you. It feels heavier than that to me, but I guess that's all it is. About 1.25 or a little more. It's stainless steel, as you saw before. Cap comes off, and the inside all comes out. And then the trick is to take all these pieces and put them together. So you put the legs on here, the legs on here, and then you take the ends with the L in them. Oh, yeah, put the legs on this side too. Where's the other one? There we go. And so oh, the one end screws in, that's right. Right, and the other one. Obviously I'm not screwing them all the way in. Well, as you can see, I guess it's got to go the other way. So it's got to be up, which does make it a bit easier to put it together, I guess. There. Well, you get the idea. There we go. Finally. Once you get these all put together and all of them screwed in, it obviously is not as wobbly, and the rest of them, they go across. And there you've got a grill, basically. And you can put a fire, put it on a fire, put it over a fire, the whole 9 yards. Stainless steel, so once it's done, you just wipe them off, clean them off, take it apart. Just as simple as you put it together.